And Patria, understandably, is confused by this, and doesn't know what to make of it, doesn't know whether to take that at face value. But nevertheless, despite feeling conflicted, despite not liking Peña at all, the family wants to be diplomatic and host a dinner party for Peña, as a thank you for getting those visiting passes and that pardon. Quote, "I wanted to start believing in my fellow Dominicans again. Once the goat is a derogatory nickname for Trujillo, once the goat was a bad memory in our past, then would begin the real revolution. We would have to fight, forgiving each other for what we had all let come to pass," end quote. So they go to the Capitol on the date that Nelson is to receive his pardon, and they find who else but American news cameras there to cover the event, and Trujillo with his best face for the camera, trying to counter international claims of human rights abuses. Now the story behind these pardons is starting to fall into place. On to the next chapter, March through August of 1960. This one is from Maria Teresa's point of view, and again is told through the pages of a diary, and this is where we finally get to get a view inside the prison, what's been going on in there. One of the first things she writes about is that the political prisoners were put in the same cell block. They share a big communal room. Well, not a huge communal room, but big enough to house between 10 and 20 people. And they put the political prisoners in with the regular prisoners, so petty thieves, and people who've committed other real crimes. This is similar to something the Soviets did. They were fond of putting thieves in with political prisoners because they knew the thieves would be cruel to the politicals. Solzhenitsyn writes that in the 1940s, the political prisoners in Russia were very meek, very unassertive. They're easy to push around. They get referred to as rabbits a lot of times. And the thieves knew that they could push around these politicals and the guards would look the other way. Well, here in this book, we see in the beginning sort of an uneasiness between the two groups, but then given enough time, they do actually start bonding with each other, because rather than a much bigger camp like what they had in the Soviet Union, this one is a more intimate setting, a handful of people in the room, staying in that room all together for an extended period of time, weeks, months, being in the same room with the same people, having to take turns with the window. They are aware of men's only rooms and women's only rooms being in the same hallway of this building. This is La Victoria Prison. It's a well-known prison in the Dominican Republic.